So we are discussing Ramayana, or maybe Untold Secrets of Ramayana. That's a better thing. So as we know that about Ram, there are many people have written many books describing pastimes of Lord Ram. There are many Ramayans. In South India, for example, you have Kumbha Ramayana, it's famous. And then Tulsidas, Ramcharitmanas, North India. And then different languages. But the most authentic Ramayana is Valmiki Ramayana, which Prabhupada writes in his purports. And Valmiki Ramayana is special because Valmiki Ramayana was written by Lord Brahma first. That also Prabhupada writes in Bhagavatam. He wrote 1 billion verses describing the pastimes of Lord Ram. And then he taught this to Devarshi Narad. And then Devarshi Narad came to Valmiki. Valmiki asked some questions to Narad Muni. So that's how Valmiki Ramayana begins. And Narad Muni speaks something about Lord Rama. And then Narad Muni as usually goes away. And Valmiki, he goes and meditates on those verses which Devarshi Narad told and expanded it into 24,000 verses. And that is what is Valmiki Ramayana. 24,000 verses. Actually, Valmiki Ramayana begins like that. So, Valmiki ji was, after Narad went away, Valmiki, he was very unhappy because he saw a hunter. He shot a bird. So he was very unhappy by this sight. And he cursed the hunter that may you be disturbed in your mind for eternity. I don't know what kind of curse it was, but then Valmiki thought, why I'm cursing? What's the problem with me? I'm a saint. I should not become angry. But then he could understand within himself that his curse was in poetic form. It was not an ordinary curse. So in Valmiki Ramayana says, so Valmiki understood that from shok, that is sadness, came shloka. So he made a shloka out of that curse. And then Lord Brahma came, he blessed Valmiki and he told, see, don't worry, this was my plan and now it is a time to write the greatest poem of the history, that is Ramayana. So Ramayana is the first poetry which was revealed on this planet to humans. And yesterday I told you what's the meaning of poetry. Poetry means that every verse has many layers of meaning. That's a poetry. That's called parokshvad. Indirect saying. So I can say that... I was thinking the example for this. So I can say a girlfriend can say to her boyfriend, that come here. That's essay, paragraph. Come here, sit with me. That's what girlfriend will say to boyfriend. But that's a prose, if you want to explain what's happening. But if you want to write a poetry of the same scene, you might write, the girlfriend said to her boyfriend, don't come near me. But that means actually, if a girlfriend says to her boyfriend, don't come near me, then that actually indirectly it means come near me, no? It happens in love, no? So that is poetry, indirect saying. Indirect. He is the greatest. You don't say Krishna is greatest, he is the greatest. Like that. So Ramayana is a poetry. There are many meanings to Ramayana. Many meanings. Superficially, all pastimes will be going on. Ram, Kekai, Mantra, Sita, Lakshman, Shatrughan, Bharat, Vibhishan. But internally, many meanings are going. And that is why Valmiki was worried. I have composed this great poem, but to whom should I teach? Because it should be carried down by generations. So he sought love and kush. qualified to hear about Ram, because they were very intelligent, and first of all they were children of Lord Ram, well versed in Vedas, well versed in poetry, and having excellent intelligence. So Valmiki taught them Ramayana, entire Ramayana. So because Ramayana is a poetry, there has to be some secrets. Is it? There has to be some deeper meaning to what we see on television, to what we hear about Lord Ram, Shatrughan, Bharat. That serial was there, no? Ramayana in India. Everybody saw that. Yeah, everybody. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, of course it's nice. But they don't explain the devotional secrets there, no? Because you can't do in a drama, and it's an entertainment thing. So what is there in Ramayana which we must know? So the first character of Ramayana is Ram, of course, no? So what do you mean by Ram? What is the meaning of this word Ram? Valmiki, he portrayed the qualities of Lord Rama. What's the meaning? Ram, if you read, Prabhupada explains, what is the meaning of Ram? Ramante yogino anante. You heard this verse? Chidananda atmani. And then, anybody knows this verse? Ramante yogino anante chidananda atmani iti ram pade nasau. That is, Ram means who is Ramante yogino anante, who is enjoying in the heart of yogis. That is Ram. Who stays in the heart of devotees and enjoys their devotion. That is Ram. Or Ram means who stays in the heart of devotees and gives them enjoyment. That is Ram. That is why another meaning of Ram is Ramyate Vara. Ramyate Vara means who is the best person, Purushottama, giving the best enjoyment. There is no enjoyment comparable in this material world or anywhere in this universe which is comparable to enjoyment and bliss which is given by Lord Ram to his devotees. That's Ramyate Vara. That is Ram. So, these are two meanings of Ram. At least what Prabhupada explains or commentators explain. And what is so special about Ram? Ram's character. What is so special? The special thing about Ram is that in Valmiki Ramayana, that Valmiki Ramayana doesn't portray Lord Ram as God. If you see Valmiki Ramayana, if you read that, Valmiki asks Narad Muni, can you tell me of a person who is the greatest, who is having all good qualities? And then Narad Muni says, okay, there's a king whose name is Ram. Why Valmiki Ramayana, at least explicitly, does not portray Ram as God? Why? Have any idea? Why? Why it's like that? Because Lord Ram is playing a role of Maryada, Purushottam, no? He's playing, Ram's Leela is Nar Leela. Krishna Leela is Ishwar Leela. So in Ram Leela, Ram is acting like a human. He is following all moralities to teach us how to lead a life, how to live a moral and good life. That is why Valmiki Ramayana, Valmiki ji, he doesn't really portray Lord Ram as Ram. Because Valmiki is a devotee, no? He's an authorized devotee. He's a acharya, of course. And what is the duty of a devotee? To serve the Lord's pastimes, no? Not to disturb that. So when Ram came, his mission was to act like a human and teach human values. So Valmiki didn't disturb the thread of that pastimes. And in his explanation, he didn't really explicitly reveal that Lord Ram is God. He explained him as a king, a righteous king. You understand? So that is why Valmiki Ramayana is special. All Ramayana, any other commentary on Ramayana, they openly tell Lord Ram is God. No? It's open, like it's revealed. But the point is, Valmiki doesn't do that because he understands that the pastimes of Lord should not be disturbed. Like Lord Chaitanya, like Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Lord Chaitanya is acting as a devotee in his pastimes. Krishna is acting as a devotee in his pastimes as Lord Chaitanya. So we are not supposed to disturb Lord Chaitanya by putting peacock feather to his head, because he doesn't like to act like God. He wants to act like a devotee. You understand? So that is Lord Ram. He's acting like a human. And that is why Lord Ram was not satisfied in his heart. He was thinking, see, I acted as like a human. I taught people morality, maryada. But what about people should also know I am God, no? So that's why he came as another avatar, Krishna, and he revealed himself as God. As Rama, we worship him for his truth and righteousness. As Krishna, we worship him for his lies and his immoral conducts. No, that's Krishna. We like him because of that. Lord Ram, he excelled in speaking truth. He gave truth. He gave a vow to his father. I'll take sannyas. I'll leave the kingdom. He left. And Dashrath, back when Lord Ram went to the forest, Dashrath left his body, no? And Bharat came to Lord Ram. Bharat told Ram, see, you can still come back. Dashrath has left the body. Take the kingdom. Lord Ram told, no, I have given my words to Dashrath. I don't want to come back. So, he gave words to that washerman, and he expelled Sita from his kingdom. So he always maintained truth. Truth is, as far as Maryada is concerned, truth is the greatest quality, no? And Krishna always excelled in speaking lies. As a child, he was speaking lies. I didn't steal butter. Then he spoke lie. I didn't steal clothes of gopis. Then he became adult, and he did politics, lot of politics. No, Duryodhana, there he spoke lies. He told that I will never lift any weapon, but he lifted. So he always spoke lies. So what's happening? Why Krishna is doing like that? Because he is showing I am God. If I can establish religious principles, I can break it also. I am God. Krishna is showing I am Ishwar. And I am doing all this. As Ram, I am doing mercy. As Krishna, I am giving bliss. As Ram, I am establishing moral principles and teaching how to behave. As Krishna, I am establishing devotion and the ecstasy of devotion, giving pleasure to my devotees. So that's Lord Ram was born in the afternoon, 12 o'clock. Krishna was born in the night, 12 o'clock. It's like that only. Lord Ram blessed day, Krishna blessed night. So whatever was left incomplete in Ram Leela, Krishna completed in Krishna Leela. So in Ram Leela, all those rishis, Dandakarne forest, they prayed to Lord Ram, please accept us as your wives. Ram told, no, come on. I have just one wife. I am Maryada Purushottam. So he told, okay, in Krishna Leela, I will complete your desires, fulfill your desires. So they were all born as gopis, Shrutichari gopis. So that was Krishna Leela all about. Completing the uncompleted tasks. He did all those things. But we are talking about Lord Ram. So with Ram, always we have Sita, no? Now what is so special about Sita? What is so special about Sita? Now special about Sita is that Acharyas explain that Sita is playing two roles in Ramayana. One is of Guru, spiritual master, and the other is as a devotee. And of course, third is as a wife. So Sita is Maryada Stri. So Sita, when Ram was going to forest, Sita accompanied Lord Ram, no? Is it? We all know. Why did Sita accompany Lord Ram? Why?
It is a dharma of wife to accompany husband.
Okay, one thing is because it is Stri Dharma, no? But there's a question then. Lakshman's wife did accompany Lakshman, no? Who is Lakshman's wife? Urmila. But she didn't accompany Lakshman. Why? She didn't know Dharma? Or she's inferior to Sita? Or what's happening here now?
She wanted to go, but they stopped her.
No, come on. They were stopping Sita also. Ram was saying, Sita, don't go. So what's happening? Sita went, Urmila didn't go. Both were great ladies. Both knew Sri Dharma. So why this discrepancy? What's happening? Do you have any idea about that? So there is a reason behind that. Yes, Sita was establishing Stri Dharma, but there was more secret to it. There was more depth to it. It was not just Stri Dharma. Sita went to forest for two reasons. She was concerned with service of Ram. Who will take care of him, first of all? You have to serve him, no? Who will take care of his food, his comfort, his bed? There's nobody to serve him. So Sita wants to go with Ram. And second point was that Sita thought that she wanted to prove that Lord Ram is courageous. She knew that if she will not go with Ram, there is no Raman. There is no Ram Leela, no? So everything was planned. They all knew Sita will go, Raman will kidnap Sita, and then glories of Ram as the most courageous person. His courage will be revealed to Lord, to the entire world. How much he loves his devotees, and for rescuing his devotee, he can do anything. So Sita was participating in the plan of Lord Ram. She knew this. But Urmila didn't go. Because who went with Lord Ram and Sita? Lakshman. And Lakshman went because Sita thought, I'll serve Ram, and Lakshman thought, I'll serve Sita Ram. Who is there to take care of them? Who is there to protect them? So Lakshman went with them, and Urmila didn't go because Urmila didn't want to come in service of Lakshman. She didn't want to disturb service of Lakshman. Because if she is there, then he has to take care of her also, no? His intention is diverted. So she was doing service of Ram by not going. She was supporting Lakshman. Okay, you serve Ram. You give full attention to him, and I am safe here. So Sita going to forest, that is a service. Urmila not going to forest, that is her service. Both are doing service. One is direct, one is indirect. Everything about Ramayana is service, no? Everybody is doing service. We might understand, we may not understand. That's another point, but that's service. So sometimes you see, sometimes going with God is service. Sometimes leaving Him is service. It's not always going with God, associating with God, that is service. That is not always service. It might be sense gratification. So I'll tell you something about that afterwards. So you get Ram and then Sita. So Sita is greater than Ram, no, in one sense, because she is a devotee. So devotees are more greater than God. And greater than Sita is Lakshman, because Sita is serving Ram, but Lakshman is serving Sita Ram. So the more lower you go, the more mercy you get, no? If your devotee is devotee, you get more mercy. If your devotee is devotee, you get more mercy. If your devotee, you get more mercy. That's spiritual word. In material word, it's if you go higher, you get more. Spiritual word, if you come lower, you get more. Do always remember that. Prabhupada writes in one of his purport that it's better to think about a devotee rather than Lord. You get more mercy. So that's Sita. But you know what? Sita, when Sita was kidnapped by Ravan, she was in Lanka. So Acharyas explain that Sita played the role of a devotee. Second role is devotee. Devotee in the sense that she was in Lanka And Lanka represents this material world. She is teaching us how to do devotion. So, she saw Marichi, no? That deer represents desires. She got attracted. She is helping us to understand how living entity gets attracted towards this material world. I want that golden deer. So of course, Ram is with her, no? Like she should not have been attracted. Of course, if Lord Ram is there, the most attractive person, how can you be attracted to a stupid deer, golden deer? But she got attracted. She was helping us to understand that even if you have Ram besides you, Maya is very strong. She can attract you. So don't have faith in yourself. Don't have faith in yourself. But Sita got tempted by the temptation. Externally, she is showing us. So that's what first point we have to learn. Sita is teaching us. Even with God, you can be subjected to Maya. You are not immune. You are not immune. In Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, Kala Krishna Das, his servant, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal servant, he got tempted by a tribal female. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, he rescued him. You can imagine. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, how strong is Maya? So if a person who is with God, he can fall down into Maya. What about us? Who are actually not with God. We're not with God. So even if you're with God, you should think you're not safe. But the irony is, without God, we think we are safe. That's we. So Prabhupada in one of his lecture, he told his devotees, you all will fall down. Prabhupada again and again warned devotees. So Prabhupada, why you are telling this? Prabhupada said that because you all devotees are too courageous. Prabhupada said, you are too courageous. You want to preach, you want to do this, but you never pray. We have to pray to Krishna. It's not easy to fight with illusion. So that is the first teaching from Sita's side. And when she was kidnapped in Ravan kidnapped her, no? And then he kept her where? Ashok garden, Ashok Van. So that this in Sri Lanka represents this material world. We are in Lanka. And in that Lanka you had one Ravan. In this Lanka you have many Ravan. No. Many small, big Ravan are there. And he kept Sita in Ashokvan. Ashokvan represents her body. So that forest was very beautiful, no? Many fruits and so many things. So our body is like that, There are many. Our body is there. We make it beautiful. We keep it. We keep it properly. We take care of it. Just like so many demonists there in Lanka, in Ashokvan, they were taking care of that forest. That forest was supposed to be the most beautiful forest in entire Lanka. So every person thinks my body is most beautiful. I'm the most handsome person on the entire earth. Everybody thinks like that, no? Nobody sees the mirror and says, oh, I'm not beautiful. Nobody thinks like that. So that is, Ashokvan represents the body and Sita represents soul, which is trapped in or kidnapped in that Ashokvan. So Ravan represents our desires, lust, anger, greed, which has kidnapped our soul in this body, and we are trapped in this Lanka, material world. And we can't escape. And Ravan always used to come to Sita and said that, surrender to me, no? He always said, no? Okay, you can become my wife. So if you don't become my wife, then after 1 month, I'll kill you. Then I will make breakfast out of you and eat you. That's all finished. So, similarly, lust, anger, greed, they're always inviting us, surrender to me. Otherwise, we will kill you. That is death. We die. So what Sita is doing in Ashokvan? What she is doing? She is sitting And she never surrendered to Ravan, no. She never surrendered. So devotee like Sita, she's acting like a devotee. We have to learn from her. A devotee like Sita in this Lanka, in this body, he doesn't surrender to temptations of lust, anger, greed. No. Doesn't do that. And he's always waiting for Lord Ram, Krishna, to come and rescue him from this ocean of material existence. No, that's what our prayer is. Krishna, please help us. No, he is always praying, like Sita was always praying to Lord Ram. When will Lord Ram come? This is a mood of a devotee. Prabhupada writes in this purport when he is explaining Ramayana. This is a mood of a devotee. He is always praying in his heart, Krishna, when you will rescue me, when you will lift me from this ocean of birth, that this is old age. That is what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayer. Ai Nanda Tanuja, Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavamado. Everybody knows. Krishna, please lift me from this ocean of birth and death. So Sita is a best devotee and best guru. She is teaching us how to do devotion in separation. That was Sita is teaching us. And of course, and in that Ashoka one, so there were so many demonists, no, who were like protecting or maybe harassing Sita. So in Valmiki Ramayana it is said that there were demonists who had one-eyed demon, many. So that represents our ego. Ego is one-eyed, no? You know why ego is one-eyed? Because if you have ego, you will think just one thing. You will not think about other options. This is right and I think this. If somebody tells you, no, Prabhuji, it can be like this, shut up. That's ego, no? So there were one-eyed demon who were harassing Sita. So our ego harasses us. So this is all analogy given by Acharyas to help us understand. So Sita is acting like a guru. And Sita is also playing a very important role, because without blessings of Sita you cannot attain Ram. For example, Sugriv. How could Sugriv become friend of Lord Ram? How could he become? Blessings of Sita. You know why? Because when Sita was being kidnapped by Ravan, what did he do? She threw her jewelries and rings, and that Sugriv took it. And because of those rings and jewelry, he was able to make friendship with Ram. He could show him that, okay, I was like that. So it was Sita's blessing that Sugriv became friend of Lord Ram. It was Sita's blessings that Vibhishan got shelter of Lord Ram. Because when Sita was kidnapped by Ravan and he was kept in Ashok Van, then there was one demoness, the head of those demonists. Who was that? No, Tataka? Come on. Trijata. She was there. You know who was she? She was daughter of Vibhishan. And because Vibhishan was Lord Ram's devotee, so Vibhishan asked her daughter, you take care of Sita because other demonists will be harassing Sita, so you don't let her harass. So she was doing service to Sita. And because of this, Vibhishan got blessings. And because of that, Vibhishan could take shelter of Lord Ram. He went to Lord Ram, and Lord Ram gave shelter. Vibhishan. And then Gua, you know Gua, that boatman who helped Ram to cross the Ganges, he got blessings of Sita, so he could serve Lord Ram. So without blessings of Sita, you cannot attain Ram. Without blessings of Radha, we cannot attain Krishna. All devotees who are able to serve Ram, somewhere or the other they are connected to Sita. And people who didn't take shelter of Sita and tried to approach Ram directly, they were killed. Shupnaka. She avoided Sita and wanted to go to Ram, no? She also wanted Ram. Not in a bad way, she wanted Ram as a husband. And it's a custom in Vedic scriptures that if you approach a Kshatriya and if you give him a proposal, he's bound to marry. You can't deny. As a Kshatriya, you can't deny if a female proposes you. So she did that. She was beautiful, but the point is Ram actually disfigured him, no? Through Lakshman. Why? Because she was trying to approach Ram without Sita. And Ram doesn't accept anybody without Sita. And what about Ravan? He wanted to approach Ram without Sita, no? Of course, he wanted Sita without Ram. That's the other way around. So both way doesn't work. Sita without Ram, you're dead. Ram without Sita, you're dead. We need both, Sita and Ram. That is why we need both, Radha and Krishna. It's not just one. It doesn't happen like that. So that is Sita. And who is Lakshman? You know what's the meaning of Lakshman? Lakshman means Lakshmi Sampanna iti Lakshmana. Who is Sampanna means? How do we Sampanna means? Rich, yeah, wealthy. Who is rich with Lakshmi? Lakshmi means Sita. Who is rich with devotion to Sita. So when Ram used to walk in the forest, behind Ram was Sita, and behind Sita was Lakshman. And Lakshman didn't used to walk straight behind them. He used to walk little on the side. You know why? He didn't want to step on the footprints of Sita Ram. He was so devoted. He didn't sleep for 14 years. He didn't sleep, yeah. Prabhupada writes, he didn't sleep for 14 years. And he maintained perfect brahmacharya. Perfect celibacy. Why he didn't sleep? Because to protect Ram in the night. Who will protect him? That's why he left Ayodhya, no? So, I don't know whether he came back. So, when they came back to Ayodhya, probably he might be sleeping all day long, sleep deficit, maybe. I don't know what he was doing. But he didn't sleep for 14 years at least, that we know. Because Indrajit, you know Indrajit? He got a boon from Brahma that a person who will not sleep for 14 years and will be celibate, he'll kill you. So, that boon was fulfilled by Lakshman. He killed Indrajit. That is why Indrajit is called Shesha. Lakshman is called Shesha. Lakshman is avatar of Shesha, no? Lakshman. So why is called Shesha? Because Shesha means end. Shesha also means left part. What is Shesh? What is left? So Ravan was killed by Ram, and Lakshman, Indrajit, who was left behind, who was actually son of Ravan. Son of Ravan is Ravan himself, no? Is it? Son and father are one. So he was killed by Lakshman. That is why he's called Lakshman, who did service as a Shesha. He was avatar of Shesha. That's Lakshman. And Lakshman also, Lakshman was a person who left Sita. When Ram exiled Sita, who took Sita for the forest? Lakshman, no? So actually Lakshman got, and if you see Lakshman's career as a devotee, he did the most difficult services. Very difficult services. He has to leave his wife behind. That's one service, no? He sacrificed. And then he didn't sleep for 14 years, that's another sacrifice. Full celibacy, that's another sacrifice. He had to leave Sita, he has to separate Sita Ram. How can anybody who 14 years served Sita Ram and protected them together, that same person has to now leave, separate Sita Ram? You can imagine, this is God. God, if you want to become His devotees, pure devotee, then be ready for surprises. It will not be easy. It's not an easy go. He will do exactly that thing which you will never want to do in life. He will make you do that. Definitely Lakshman would not have dreamed that Lord Ram will ask me to separate Sita from her. No. He would not have even dreamed. But this exactly same thing Ram asked Lakshman. He didn't even ask Bharat and Shatrughan. He could have asked anybody. Out of all of them, he called Lakshman. Because he wanted to test his devotion. How much he is devoted to me. How much he can follow my orders. So he tested him. That whether he is attached to his own, he is serving me out of his own sense gratification, or is really my servant. So Krishna and Ram, they test. They always test. God always tests his devotees. You know why? Because of two reasons.
So that they become more stronger.
The Lakshman becomes more stronger. Lakshman is Lakshman. He's God. He's God acting as a servant, no? How do you make him more stronger?
Way to glorify them.
It's a way to glorify them. It's a way to glorify them. So that people can know that how great devotees they were. Because I mean to say, if Prabhupada would not have gone to America, if he would not have got heart attacks, if he would have been in India and he would have opened temples, all devotees, finish. Who would have glorified him? Okay, one saint came and he became famous and finished. But we glorify Prabhupada because he underwent so many problems, no? He preached in India 30 years, he was not able to get even a single disciple, but still he kept his determination. He went to America, 2 heart attacks, no money, then 1 year, no preaching. He came back to India with heart problem, went back, slowly the movement took up. So many problems in India, temple construction, and in America, back in America, management problems, so many problems. Why? Because Krishna wanted to glorify. Krishna wanted to show how much love he had for God. Love love manifests when there are problems. Without problems, love is hidden. No? It doesn't manifest. So, how do you get butter from milk? You have to churn it. So, when you churn somebody's life, then love manifests. Just like Krishna left Vrindavan, why did he leave? So, when he left, then the entire world came to know how much Vrajvasis loved Krishna. No? When they were together, you don't know. So, just like if you have a child and you have a husband, okay, you may be fighting all along and all day with your husband and beating that child. But if you separate, if somebody separates you from child and husband, then people will know, oh my God, she loves you, know. She's not a bad female that she's always scolding her husband and her child. You understand? So, separation reveals love. So that's why Krishna sometimes separates himself from his devotees to glorify them and gives difficult services to his devotees so that people can understand that what do you mean by service. Service is not an easy thing. The more higher you go in devotional life, the more difficult services God will give you. But that's for our benefit. But at that time it will not look difficult. It will look relishable, no? Because, mountaineering? So when people go to mountaineering, which mountain they choose? Simple, so that you can just walk. The more the challenges, the more the ecstasy, no? So that's the point. The more challenges to a devotee, the more ecstatic he is. So Krishna arranges like that for his pure devotees. But not for us. If you're not ready, Krishna will do all those things, because then you leave him, He'll say, what the hell is happening with my life, I'm messed up. So he'll not do all those things. For Prabhupada, he arranged like that, because he could handle it. He could understand that everything is mercy of God. He would understand. But he'll not do everything like this for you. He'll not just ruin your family life, take all money. He'll say, what? I'm leaving Krishna. That's too much. He knows how to give happiness to his devotees. So when you're new devotees get happiness by chanting, by small services, by adhering to pastimes, okay, that is good. But advanced devotees, they want challenges. That is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, that Tumhara sevai jata hoy dukh, sei to parama sukh. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, Krishna, the problems and risks in your services, that is my real wealth. I like that. I like to take risks for your services. That's love, no? I mean to say, who would have watched Romeo and Juliet if there were no challenges, no? no movie will become hit, if there are no problems in that movies. There are always problems, no? Romance movies, that father will not allow him to meet that girl, and then there are blah, 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 so many things. If it's an easy go, then there's no love, no point. No pleasure. So Krishna gives pleasure to his devotees like that. So he asked Lakshmana to do this service out of everybody. Lakshman didn't dream of this, but Ram told, okay, now this you have to do. So the thing which you are trying to escape, that is for definite will come back to you. 100% is going to come back to you in some form or the other, and be ready for that. And by at an appropriate time, Krishna will do that. So you know what? When Lord Chaitanya was there, and he was about to take sannyas, Lord Chaitanya. So one of his associate, Murari Gupta, he was one of associate of Lord Chaitanya, Murari Gupta. He, in Lord Ram's pastime, he was Hanuman. And he was born as Murari Gupta in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taking sannyas, Murari Gupta went to Lord Chaitanya before taking sannyas. Just before taking sannyas, Murari Gupta went to Lord Chaitanya, and he told, Lord Chaitanya came to meet Murari Gupta. And Murari Gupta told Lord Chaitanya, you have come to meet me, that's nice, but give me one promise. Give me one promise that in this pastime, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, don't give me surprises. So as Hanuman in Ramayana, Lord Rama gave surprises, no? Lakshman is leaving Sita. After so much hard work, Lord Ram got Sita back. No? He got Sita back. So many monkeys died. But then afterwards, he himself says, okay, I leave you, I abandon you, So it was always, so Murari Gupta told Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord, always in your pastimes you give surprises, which are intolerable. You separated Sita and we couldn't tolerate that. As Lord Ram, as Lord Krishna, you left Brajvasis, we couldn't tolerate that. So in this pastime, please don't give any twist. Don't give surprise. So Mahaprabhu told, well, I just came to tell you that there's a twist in my pastime. I'm going to leave my family. I'm going to leave my mother and Vishnu Priya and taking sannyas. So Mahaprabhu told, I have come to tell you because I knew you will ask this question, and before you do, I am telling you, this is going to happen. So why, this is the answer to your question, why God is not giving his association to us? Why? Why is not coming to meet us now? Why is not revealing his form to us? Why? What's the problem?
We are not ready.
We are not ready for that. Because we are not ready for surprises. We are not ready for risks. He'll ask, if he comes, he'll demand. He'll demand. And then you can't say no to him. If he demands, you can't say no. If you say no, you are in hell. Yudhishthira Maharaj told no to Krishna. He told no. Krishna told, say Ashwathama died. Yudhishthira told no, Krishna. And because of that, he had to go to hell for one day. One day he went to hell. So if he comes to us now, he will ask you, he will demand you funny thing, He'll say, okay, leave your family, go to China. What do you do? You're not ready. He will say, Krishna, okay, I'm very sorry I took initiation, take your wheat bags. Thank you. Go back. No chance. So we are not ready, we are not fit now, ready to be with him, to engage, to serve him directly in his pastime. That is why he is not there with us. So it is his mercy that he is not coming to us. You have to understand that if he comes to us, we will be implicated in offenses and we will ruin ourselves. So his revealing himself to us is mercy. His not revealing himself to us is also mercy. Everything is his mercy. He is God. He just know. He He knows how to do mercy, that's all. That's all he knows. Just like, Sita, when Hanuman came to Lanka. So Hanuman came to Lanka and then in Ashok Vatika. So he gave message of Lord Ram to Sita. He was sitting on the tree, and then he glorified Ram, no, from the top of the tree, and then dropped that ring. And Sita could understand he's Hanuman. And by the way, his glorification of Lord Ram is mentioned in which Kand? Sundarkand, no? You see if you see all the chapters of Ramayana, how it begins. Balkand, you know all the Kand, no? 7 Kand. Balkand, that is childhood pastimes. Ayodhya Kand, that is pastimes in Ayodhya when they are living nicely. Then Aranya Kand. Aranya means forest, when he goes to forest. And then Kishkindhya Kand, when he goes to South India and all those, he meets Shabri and all those things. And then comes Sundarkand, where Hanuman goes to Lanka, he finds Sita and come back. And after Sundarkand? Not Lanka. Yuddhakand. Yuddha. It was Yuddha. 6. And last is Uttarkand. It finishes, no 7 Kand. Now you see, so Uttar means end. Purva and Uttar. All Kandas, all chapters name are according to the pastimes. But Sundarkand is not according to the pastime. Sundarkand is Sundarkand. Sundarkand would have, you would have named Sundarkand as Hanuman Kand or Sita Mochan Kand, something like that, no? But Valmiki chose to name Sundarkand as Sundarkand. Why? Because Hanuman glorified Ram in Sundarkand. That is why Valmiki told it is Sundaram. If you want to know beauty of Lord Ram, you have to go to Sundarkand. Hanuman is the best speaker, best eloquent speaker. Lord Ram praised Hanuman when he first met him. Before Sugriv, Lakshman and Ram, they met Hanuman, and but Hanuman took form of a Brahmin. He disguised himself. But when as a Brahman, Hanuman asked, "Who are you? Where are you going?" So Ram could understand. Ram told Lakshman, he's not an ordinary Brahman. By his speech, I can understand. He knows entire Vedas. Because Hanuman's speech is very, very soft, eloquent, full of rhetorics. He knows how to speak. We were discussing yesterday. So he could understand. So Hanuman is Vanar Uttama. He's monkey, but he's Uttama. He's best of monkeys. That's how Sita used to address Hanuman. Always. Vanar Uttama. But when he came to Ashok Vatika in Sundarkand, and he gave ring to Sita, and then all these things happened, and then Hanuman told Sita, I'm going. You can come with me. But Sita denied, because Sita told, I can't come with you for 2 reasons. First is, I don't touch anybody else, any male. So Hanuman told, this is illogical, because I'm not a male, I'm a monkey. So you can touch me, I'm an animal. But Sita told, anyway, second reason is that I want Ram to rescue me, not you. Because if you rescue me, history will glorify you. And I don't want history to glorify you. I want history to glorify Ram. See how these people are thinking. You see, the thinking is entirely different. If you would have been there in front of Sita, okay, let's go. Immediate. Come on, who wants to die here? They don't think like that. They're servants of God. We are servants of lust, our own desires. That's what we are. We may admit or not admit, but we are like that. We are dressed as a devotee, but we are not devotees. Let's admit this fact, no? We are not. We are trying to be devotees. You can say that, but we are not devotees. Devotees are supposed to think like them, no? So these pastimes help us. That's why I told untold secrets of Ramayana. These pastimes help us to enter the mind of devotees and understand what is devotional about. Devotion is not just chanting 16 rounds. If you think that, you are highly mistaken. It's not just finishing 16 rounds. 16 rounds is an important limb of devotion, but that's not all about devotion, no. That's the starting of devotion, no. Sevon mukhe hi jivadau. Devotion starts with tongue, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, but then there are many things. And there's preaching also. Then you have to understand how devotees think and you have to act like them. And then Sita told another reason. Sita told, see, if you will take me, there are many other prisoners in Lanka, like me. Many other females here Raman has captured. Who will save them? Anyway, I will get rescued, but what about them? So let Ram come. He'll kill Raman, and with me, all other prisoners, they will also get relief from Raman's atrocities, his tyranny. So devotee, para dukkha, dukhi, that's a devotee. He can risk his life for others. That's Prabhupada. He risked his life, no, for preaching, for helping others. So that's Sita teaching us, no. So but at that time, what happened was, she denied. Then Hanuman told, okay, fine, if you want to come, that's okay. Now what I want to do is, I want to, these all demonists, I want to kill them. I'll just harass them, kill them, and destroy Ashok Vatika, eat some fruits, and that's okay. So, at that time Sita told Hanuman, you are, previously she used to call Vanar Uttama, but now she addressed Hanuman as Plavangama. Plavangama means the best of monkeys. Vanar Uttama means best of monkeys. Plavangama means simply monkey. So Sita told, see, you're a monkey. You're an animal, and you're now talking like an animal. That I'll harass all these things. So Sita told, always remember that that quality of a saint is always to forgive. He should always forgive. To the extreme end. He should never forget this quality of forgiveness. Just forgive them, no problem. Don't act like a monkey and do this, no. So, yeah, I'm talking about this, Hare Krishna. What about that? What's the link? Why am I talking about monkey? Hare Krishna. I wanted to link something. I just lost my thread. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so this is about Sita. I was talking about Lakshman, no? Or I was talking about Sita. Oh, yeah, I was talking about Lakshman, yeah. How did I come here? No, but that's okay. How did I come to Sundarkand? I was talking about Lakshman. We're talking about Lakshman. Why one story and another story?
You were saying 3 reasons why Sita denied Hanuman's request for...
Yeah, I don't know why we came here. But okay, fine. So, Sita told Hanuman, always remember, my comfort without Ram is my discomfort. And my discomfort with Ram is my comfort. She told Hanuman. You understand? My discomfort without Ram, Hare Krishna. What did I tell? I'm myself confused. Huh? What did I tell?
With Ram is comfort.
Yeah, my discomfort with Ram is my comfort. That means if in the service of Lord I experience some discomfort, that is my comfort.
Comfort without...
I like that.
The comfort without discomfort.
Yeah, and the comfort without Ram is my discomfort. That's teaching she gave to Hanuman there. To all of us through him. That's Sita. Anyway. So yeah, I was talking about Lakshman anyway. I was talking about how God... why doesn't God reveal himself to us now? He will ask so many services. So it's good. He's not coming now to us. We are not ready. We have to think like Sita. Oh, that's what I was explaining. We have to think like Sita. We have to be ready to serve him at the cost of our life. Be ready to serve him. We have to be ready to glorify him and put ourselves in the back. You see Prabhupada, nobody knows Prabhupada outside ISKCON. No? Nobody knows. Everybody knows this movement as Hare Krishna movement. No? When people come to ISKCON, then they know about Prabhupada. Otherwise, but in all other institutions, everybody knows their founder. No, all other institutions are famous because of their founder.
Yeah.
Okay, Ramakrishna Math or Osho Rajneesh or Ravi Shankar or whatever, anyway, you name. But ISKCON movement is the only movement where nobody knows the founder Acharya. This is called pure devotee. Prabhupada always made a point that Krishna should be glorified, not he himself. Just like Sita is always thinking, let Ram be glorified. Neither you, neither me. Nobody else. Only Ram. So Prabhupada practically demonstrated. That's why we worship him. No? He's a pure devotee. So this is about Sita. And we were talking about Lakshman. So I explained about Lakshman. So who is greater than Sita? Lakshman. Because Lakshman is serving Sita and Ram. But even greater than Lakshman is Bharat. You know why? Why?
He did not take kingdom, even though there's a chance.
Yeah, but then Lakshman also didn't take. That's
He's
okay.
outside of separate.
My question is why Bharat is greater than Lakshman? It's a very specific question. It's not why Bharat is great. Why Bharat is greater than Lakshman. That's
Lakshman is serving Rama, but
So-
Bharat is not serving, like personally is not serving, but he surrendered himself for Rama and he stayed in the
so what's the point in that? Like, so then why is
in
great?
separation also he has that attachment to Lord Rama.
Yeah, maybe or something near, yeah.
He glorified.
And Lakshman served Ram in his association. But Bharat served him in separation. So Bharat is greater than Lakshman in the sense that Bharat never forgot Ram when he was there in the forest. No, he never forgot him. It's easy to serve Ram when he's there in front of us. No, it's easy to serve when the person is in front, but when he's not there, then to continue service day after day, day after day, day after day, that's very difficult.
Yeah, Bharat also lived the life of a brahmachari.
Yeah, I'm explaining. Yeah, so Bharat. So the meaning of Bharat is Bharam Rajyati. That is, he took the bhar means the weight, the responsibility. Weight also means responsibility. The responsibility of kingdom. He wanted to manage Ayodhya. No. Now, why he wanted to do that? He could have easily accompanied Lord Ram. He could have said, "Okay, Lakshman, you are going. I am also coming with you." That's all. So Shatrughan can do everything, but he didn't choose that because he understood that everything about Ram or Krishna is service. Never forget this word service. Everything is service. So at that point, Prabhupada always said, "Do the needful." No, the need was to manage the kingdom. Somebody was required. There was a service. So whenever there is opportunity to serve, a devotee never loses that. So Bharat thought, okay, fine, I'll take this opportunity to serve Lord Rama. Because Lakshman is anyway doing the service in forest. You don't need another person to do that service. He is enough. Now, you need somebody here back. And that is why he lived in Ayodhya. Actually, he didn't live in Ayodhya. He lived in a village near Ayodhya, Nandigaon. And you know what? Lord Ram was sleeping on the floor. He was not sleeping on the floor. He dug and slept in that hole because he didn't want to sleep on the same level. That's devotion, How do you do that? How do you do that? We can't do all these things. And neither we are supposed to do. We can't imitate them. We'll go crazy. Probably we'll get divorced. What? Morning wife is coming, you have dug your house. It's a mad situation, but he was doing that, and because Ram was taking fruits he took a vow, he will not cook. So he was taking, what's that called? What's that Sanskrit? What do they call? Roots, and he was eating roots. What do they call in Sanskrit? Yeah. Kanda, yes. Yeah, kanda. Yeah, oh, yeah. So Valmiki Ramayana says, so he was taking mool and kanda. Mool kanda, that is roots and shoots of the plants. Yeah, all these things below the ground. So he was eating that. So Bharat was, what he was doing? He was not eating that. Ram is eating, so he has to be below Ram, no? So he was feeding cow some grains. When the cow will do stool, then from stool he will take grains which are undigested, and then wash them in urine, boil them, and take that. That was his diet, 14 years. I don't know how he was eating, but he was eating those things. And he kept Lord Ram's sandals on the throne, and he was managing from there. From that, he was instructing from that village. So that is Bharat, who took the responsibilities of kingdom, who took the weight of sandals of Lord Ram on his head. Bharat also means that. He took on his head. And he managed. He was fortunate to have sandals of Lord Ram, not Lakshman. Lakshman did have on his head. Bharat had no. So Bharat was more fortunate than Lakshman. You see, the more lower you go, the more you become fortunate. And the most fortunate in Ramayana was Shatrughan. Actually, his service is the highest. You know why? You will not hear about him. And he's not even on the altar. You have Ram, Lakshman, Bharat and Hanuman. That's it. There is no Shatrughan. Why? We don't like Shatrughan or what? Why is not there? You ever thought about that? I mean to say all four should be there, no? But you don't get Shatrughan. So this is secret, untold secret of Ramayana. There is a secret in this. And the secret is in the name of Shatrughan. Shatrughan, the name is Shatrughan. Shatru means enemy. Ghan means destroy. Who destroys the enemy. So what is the greatest enemy? Lust, selfishness. We are selfish, no? That's the greatest enemy. So Shatrughan plays a role model and teaches us how to destroy selfishness. What do you mean by selfishness, first of all? What do you mean by selfishness? He is teaching us. So we think selfishness means taking money or thinking about ourselves. That's selfishness. But that's very gross. If you're still there, forget devotion. If you're still thinking of money, still thinking of small petty things, materialistic things, I want this, I want that, impossible. You cannot attain God. You will attain, it will take time. Hang on. But Bharat is teaching us selfishness which is even difficult to recognize. That is why he's not there on the altar. Because people can understand Bharat, role of Bharat. You can understand simply, no? Bharat, okay, accepted service of Lord Ram. You can understand role of service of Lakshman. You can understand service of Sita. But you cannot understand service of Shatrughan. For that you have to be a devotee, a very great devotee. Shatrughan, what he did was, he first of all, he could have easily accompanied Ram. Is it? Now he did accompany Ram because Lakshman was there. At the same time, he didn't have any service back in Ayodhya because that service is taken by Bharat. So what is he supposed to do? Just space out? Hang around or what? That's Shatrughan. Shatrughan is teaching us, if there is no service, then you have to find service. It's not that somebody tells you to serve. That's a very low platform. Somebody tells you, okay, we do. If somebody doesn't tell you, okay. No, a devotee has to find service. So Shatrughan, your selfishness will not allow you to find service. Somebody tells, okay, I am doing. If somebody doesn't tell, okay, no problem. Prabhuji, what you are doing? Well, I don't have any service. Complete nonsense. Why don't you find service, no? You have to create service yourself. That's Shatrughan. Selfishness will not allow you to be proactive. You understand? We are all active, but we are not proactive. So all services will be done by temple president. We are good devotees. We will not do anything from ourselves. Whatever he asks, we'll do. Otherwise, we'll sit nicely. No. This is selfishness. Now, this concept, non-devotees cannot understand this concept, no? First, non-devotees have to understand what is service, first of all. Proactive service, only a devotee can understand. This is very subtle thing. But the most important point which Shatrughan is teaching is, he could have gone with Ram because he didn't have any service, first of all. Neither there, neither here. He was finding service. So what service he chose? He didn't choose, he could have assisted Bharat, he could have assisted Lakshman. He didn't choose to assist Lakshman, he chose to assist Bharat. Why? Because he understood, the more lower you are, the more mercy you get. So, Bharat is serving Sitaram and Shatrughan is serving Bharat. He is serving devotee. And a devotee who is feeling separation from Ram. So, when a devotee feels separation, they need assistance, no? They need assistance. I mean, you have to be with that devotee to encourage him to continue services, no? Like that. So, he chose to be with Bharat. But he didn't choose to be with Ram. You know why? Because the greatest selfishness in anybody is the desire to meet God. You know this? You understand? The desire to meet God for your own self-satisfaction. That is the greatest selfishness. So I want to meet God because I will be satisfied. Then you are out of devotion. So Shatrughan didn't want to be with Ram just because he will feel satisfied. No, the question is not of satisfaction. The question is not of peace. The question is not of happiness. We are not here for peace and happiness. Now you can't tell this to a non-devotee, no? You can't tell to new devotees. Okay, you have come to Krishna, don't expect any happiness. Understand? So come on. I have come here for peace and happiness, no? What the hell you are saying? So that's why Shatrughan is doing a role which only devotees can understand. That's why he's not there in altar. He's not for public. Public cannot understand. He's secret. And devotees can understand. Yes, we have come to Krishna not for our own personal happiness, peace, satisfaction. We have come to Krishna for sacrifice. That's devotion all about. Devotion is not about happiness and peace. It's about sacrifice. Bharat sacrificed. He didn't meet Krishna, Ram. He didn't go with Ram for his satisfaction. He left Ram for service and chose to assist Bharat. So, he was not concerned with his own happiness. Understand? He chose sorrow instead of happiness, which could have easily chosen. He chose sorrow because that's where service was required. He was teaching us, don't try to meet God for your own happiness. That's not the idea. That's not devotion. Why do you want to see Krishna? It will be so nice. No, devotees say like that, no? It will be so nice with Krishna. Yes, it will be nice, but it will be nice. But the point is, if you are going to Krishna for this concept, it will be so nice with Krishna, then it's not devotion. We are not going for nice or not nice. We're going for service, you know. You have to understand that. Even if it is not nice, if service is required, we'll go. Is it? If there's no service, then we'll not go. If the service is required in some other section, we'll go there, no? Even if it is not nice. That is what Sita told Hanuman. So, yeah, Sita, that's what she told. Discomfort with you is my comfort. And comfort without you is my discomfort. But discomfort in your service without you is my comfort. You getting my point? Discomfort without you in service is my comfort. You are engaged in service of Lord. So that's Shatrughan. So to understand Shatrughan is very difficult. That is why Valmiki doesn't talk about him. There's not much talk about him, no? Because you can't understand him until unless you have reached a particular platform of devotion. It's impossible to understand him. And that's Shatrughan. Shatrughan is teaching how to kill selfishness. Shatru, the greatest Shatru is selfishness will not leave you if you have... It is not that you come from material life to spiritual life, you have left selfishness. No, selfishness has come with you in the temple. It's not there. It's all along with you. So we were selfish there, and we are bound to be selfish here. And that manifests in form of, that selfishness manifests, the highest form of that selfishness is desire to meet Krishna for our own happiness and satisfaction. That's the highest form of selfishness. And that's confusing, no? People can't understand that, no? People say, yes, we will meet Krishna and it will be so nice, so happy, so enjoyable. And Vedas promise, if you are with Krishna, every day is a festival, no? Brahma Samhita says, you'll simply enjoy. Vedas promise that. But we don't want to go to Krishna for enjoyment. We are not enticed by flowery language of Krishna says in Gita, no? Ved Vadrata Partha, Naneda Sthiti Vadina. We are not enticed by flowery language. Our whole attention is fixed on service of Lord. That's Shatrughan. So, he's the most fortunate. He's the most fortunate. That he didn't make up in the altar. He's not there. He's hidden. And only people who don't have any hidden agendas, they can understand this hidden personality and can understand the confidential mood of this devotee Shatrughan. So this is Ram, Sita, Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughan. So these are all heroes, no? And Vibhishan is also a hero. Vibhishan's role is little unique because Vibhishan left Ravan and came to Ram, no? He surrendered to Ram. And when he came to Ram, he told that, I want to surrender to you, Ram. And Ram immediately accepted him. Is it? You know why? You know why he accepted him? Why? What happened to you? You're dead or what?
The devotee?
I already told you. I've told you. Because first point was that he served Sita. But the crucial point was Ram accepted his surrender. I mean to say, other monkeys were very, very skeptic about him. They thought he's a spy, you know. First of all, he's brother of Raman. And then he's coming to surrender. And these demons, you know, you can't understand how they work. They can do anything. They can deceive, they can lie, they can cheat. So everybody was saying he's a spy, you know. Don't have faith in him. Kill him. But Ram told, no, I accept him. Why? Because Ram could see one quality in him. And that's why he accepted him. Why? Because Ram could see, he not only left Ravan, he also left his family. He didn't bring his children, his wife. He didn't bring his wife, no? She was back in Lanka. He didn't even think for a moment what will happen to my wife. Because he abused Raman, no? He so many times he abused Raman. He told Raman, you surrender to Ram. He was telling again and again, you surrender to Ram. Otherwise you'll be killed by Ram. And Raman was saying, come on, you're my brother or what? You're discouraging me, you're crazy or what? So at the end, Raman was really pissed off, you can say like that. And he kicked Vibhishan. Get out. So ideally Vibhishan should have taken his wife and went to Ram, no? Because his wife is at risk, no? By being killed with Raman. But he left his wife. He left his daughter in service of Sita. Ravan could have killed her daughter easily, That he's a treacherer, kill his family. So in such cases, if anything would have happened in such a scenario to anybody, he would have overnight taken all his family, all his possessions, and just ran away. But he didn't do. He left his family, and Ram recognized his sacrifice, and he accepted immediately. That is surrender, full surrender. It is not that I keep something with myself. No, he left everything in the protection of Lord Ram. Ram will take care. No problem. So that's where Vibhishan is glorified. Vibhishan is glorified for his surrender. For his surrender. It's very difficult to do what Vibhishan did. I mean to say, you leave your children and wife in some place where you are sure that they'll be killed. Nobody will do that. You are not supposed. Nobody will do that. But he had full faith in Ram. They'll protect him, and he just came to surrender. So he's again a hero, of Ramayana. Who else is hero? Oh, Hanuman. Anyway, I can talk on Hanuman on another 1 hour. I don't want to talk on him, but I can talk. But before that, some villain. Every story has a villain. So there was one villain, Manthara. You know Manthara? And Kekai. These are two important villains of Ramayana. And what they are teaching us. So Manthara, she advised Kekai. That, what did she say, Kekai? That you ask 2 boons from Dashrath. And tell Dashrath that one boon is Bharat will become king. Second is Ram will go for 14 years in exile. Now the point was, she advised Kekai, and Manthara is playing role of a villain, no? Now why she is doing like that? And the reason was that Manthara in previous life, she was cursed. She was an Apsara, but she was cursed, and she became Manthara. So Lord was using her as an instrument to create a situation where he can go to forest and kill Ravan. So she was a pawn basically. She was controlled by Ram. She was not in her mind. And Kekai also, Dashrath fell on the feet of Kekai. You can imagine. But Kekai said, no, I am not going to agree to anything. You have to exile Ram. How can Kekai become so hard-hearted, no? That's an obvious question. How can... Kekai was a person who saved Dashrath's life. Kekai was a person who loved Ram more than Bharat. And suddenly a mind changed. What happened? And there is another secret in this. If you read Valmiki Ramayana properly, at the time when Kekai was... So at the time Dashrath was holding feet of Kekai and pleading to Kekai. At the same time, Ram was worshipping Ranganath. Narayan. Lord Vishnu. Ram was worshipping Vishnu. And Ram was praying to Vishnu that please don't let Kekai be convinced by Dashrath. You can imagine. He was praying to Vishnu there. Don't let Kekai change her mind. So Dashrath was holding feet of Kekai and Ram was holding feet of Vishnu. Who will win? Ram. Of course Ram. No. So she couldn't get convinced of Dashrath. Because Ram knew if he will not go to forest, Sita will not be kidnapped, Ravan will not be killed, and the purpose of his avatar will be defeated. No, he's God. He knows the plan. No, he's not ignorant king. He knows what he's supposed to do. And that is by blessings of Ranganath, Kekai became stubborn. She became stubborn, and she was not convinced by Dashrath's argument.
Well, Ram could have just, as a conqueror, he could have gone to Lanka as a conqueror.
Oh no, that's what. Ram doesn't do all these things. He's playing role of a human. He's not playing role of a god.
No, as a king, a human king.
No, if he can do this, but then what's the fun in his pastimes? He has to create fun also, no? for all of us. It's a movie. You don't make a movie like that. You ask any director. He'll not make a movie, he's a king and go. And there has to be some twist, some fun, some surprise. And then there were many other things. He has to bless all the rishis in the forest. He has to bless all devotees. There are many other things he had to do. Yes, so many things. He has to help rishis. So many things were going on. So that was the best plan according to Ram.
Bali has to be killed.
Yeah, so many things. So that's what is all about. Kekai and Manthara. So although they are villains, but we should always understand everything is going according to plan of Lord Ram. Nothing is not under control of Ram. Everything is under control of Lord Ram. That is a secret going behind Ramayana. We can say she is bad. But while everything is planned by Ram already. But the greatest hero of Ramayana is Hanuman. Without Hanuman, you don't talk about Ram, no? You don't talk about Ram. And I can talk about Hanuman for another 1 hour. But you have to go. It's already 1.5 hours. I've talked about 1.5 hours. So maybe for next time we'll keep
There is one thing
Hanumanji.
about us and those rishis in
Hare Krishna. What?
we are not devotees.
Is glorified that he proved the kingdom wonderfully. He whatever word he said, he stick to that word. But during marriage, any man will promise that he will stay with his wife till death. But Lord Rama did not do that. Is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, Prabhupada writes in Bhagavatam that Lord Ram was a perfect king. So as a king, for king, subjects are more important than his family. Always. So many kings in the history, they even killed their own children. You see Jagannath Puri history. Who was that king? Indradyumna Maharaj. He had 18 children and he killed all of them. He didn't leave even a single child. Because he thought after I am gone, they will fight for Lord Jagannath. So better kill them, He killed them. 18 children, you can imagine what would have happened to his wife, his mother. So for a king, according to Dharma Shastra, king is like a god to his subjects. Everybody is his son. His son, his family is not so special. He's not considered. So for the benefit of his praja, he took this action. To prove that this is a duty of a king. He's Maryada Purushottam, no? He's setting an example for future kings. If there's a time to choose between your selfish interest and the interest of kingdom, you should forego your selfish interest. So, there is Stri Dharma, there is Pati Dharma, but there are higher dharmas than this. Everything is dharma, but for higher religious principle, we can leave lower religious principles. That is also religion. So that is a higher religious principle. He left. So he's not doing irreligion. That's religion. You understand? That's the point there. Okay, yeah.
Can you please tell something about Kumbhakaran, because he was also a devotee.
Kumbhakaran.
Like Vibhishan, he was almost equal devotee.
Kumbhakaran, according to Valmiki Ramayana, he was not a devotee. He was not a pure devotee of Lord Ram. Although he told Raman that Raman, you did a mistake, You got Sita and you don't know who is Ram. He is powerful. He can kill you. But why didn't you ask us? You should have asked us, before doing that act. Now you're asking help from me after doing this mistake. So I can always argue with you. I'll not help you because you should have asked us before doing all this act, First you do a mistake and then call us and then ask us to fight. What is this? This is complete nonsense, no? So that much Kumbhakaran advice. But then Kumbhakaran told, anyway, you are my brother, so I'll help you. So according to Valmiki Ramayana, he was not a devotee. He had some understanding of Ram, some kind of understanding, but not complete understanding.
But it
So-
looks like somewhere that he tells even Lakshman wants to fight with him. He doesn't fight with anybody else. What Rama?
No, actually, that's why I'm telling it is not in Valmiki Ramayana. There are many. That's why there's many other Ramayana written by many other authors, and we don't accept that as full authority. Authority is Valmiki Ramayana. So Valmiki didn't mention there. So we can't make any comments on that. That's all. Okay, so anything else or we'll stop? Okay.